Hello, Paul here again. Let's keep going. I'm so glad you decided to watch this particular video because this is an essential element to a successful job search tracking. Because if you do this right, this will directly control the length of your job search. And of course, we're going to talk about tracking where your resume is going and the specific categories of information that you need to have access to. But there is a much more important element to job search tracking than just where your resume has been sent to. And that's simply keeping a close eye on your overall productivity numbers. And this is where we start shifting our thinking about finding a job being less about luck and market conditions and being all about knowledge and tactics. And here's what I mean. Follow me all the way through here. Let's say, for example, you're not pursuing an adequate number of job openings every week, or you're not sending out an adequate number of resumes. Well, that means that we know your process of finding new job openings needs to be adjusted so that you can pursue more jobs. Now, if you are sending out a good number of resumes, but you're not getting any responses or very, very few responses at all, not even rejection letters, well, then we know we need to look at how you're applying to these jobs and who you're sending your resume to. And you also need to look at your resume to make sure your email address is correct and your phone number is correct. I get lots of resumes that have wrong numbers on them and bad emails. You got to look at that stuff. Now, let's say that you are looking at a good number of resumes that you've sent out each week and you are getting lots of rejection letters back. Well, that means we need to look at your resume, right? And the tactics in which you are presenting your background to the various hiring managers, because that now needs to be adjusted. Moving forward, let's say you are getting a good number of phone interviews, but you're not getting to the next level, right? Well, now we need to talk about your phone interviewing skills. If that's not it, if you're getting past the phone interview, but never past the face-to-face interviews, well, then that's what we need to focus on, and you need to change your interviewing style. Let's say you're getting by that. You're consistently getting down to the final 2 or 3 candidates, but you're never getting the job. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, as they say. Well, at this point, I recommend you find out what your references are saying about you. I can't tell you the number of times I've had a really good candidate for a position and their references were terrible. And the thing is, by law, I cannot tell this person that their references are trashing them and that's why they're not getting the job. I have to say, well, I'm sorry, I don't have any further information I can share with you about why they aren't moving forward. You need to know what your references are saying and replace the bad ones. And I do know that that's very hard to believe, that people that you feel like you can trust would do something like that, but it happens a lot. It's worth investigating. Well, let's say you are getting a lot of offers, but the offers you're getting aren't what you were expecting and you keep turning them down. Well, now you need to know a little bit more about the market research and what's realistic for that particular position. I just spoke to a college grad this week, is why I bring this up. College grad, no experience whatsoever, wouldn't take an offer less than $75,000 for his first job. Are you out of your mind? I mean, yes, it's possible. I've seen big offers go out to college grads, but it's not probable. I mean, why limit yourself with that, with no experience? I mean, no experience. You don't even know what you don't know yet. You know, if you need some salary information, you need trend information, look at the bottom right-hand sidebar on this screen that you're looking at now. Bottom right-hand side in the sidebar, you're going to see a couple of links there that you can use for guidance on salary and trends, powered by Indeed. The point here is that you can always pinpoint exactly what the issue is, what the specific reason is of why you can't get further in the process. And when you have that information, then you can make changes to your strategy and get a little bit further down the line. But without that information, that's when you start feeling like you're so unlucky and this job market is so bad and that industry is dead and nobody's hiring and blah, 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 blah. It's just unnecessary lost time and emotion wasted that could have been used on refocusing your strategy and your efforts to move forward in the process. There are companies that are hiring year-round, every year. So I don't want to hear the market's bad. You know, there's some companies that thrive because of recessions. Remember the big mortgage industry crash not too long ago? Some people from that industry just lost all hope because the industry that they knew, as they knew it, truly was in a bad state, and it was. But there were companies at that time developing new software to help regulate that industry, and those companies were doing great. I know they were because I was placing people in there. The law firms that were helping those people in trouble were doing great. So many businesses thrived because the industry was in trouble. And if you're tracking your numbers and consistently hitting your daily productivity goals, you're going to hear about these opportunities because you're looking for them, and you're going to get employed faster. So it's essential that you track your numbers. So now let's talk about what I'm sure you were expecting me to talk about in this video from the beginning, which is tracking your search itself and where your resume is going. One thing I see a lot of people do is rely on their sent file in their email to keep track of where they sent their resume to, but there's two major problems with this. First, it's not easy to get to or to search through for consistent results. You really need to have this information at your fingertips. And second, those sent emails don't contain any notes about what's happening at those places and what you've got going on. If you've got a long list of places that you're pursuing and one of them goes dark on you, you don't hear from them at all for a couple of weeks, then they call out of the blue, it's a lot less likely that you're going to know exactly what was said in your last conversation with them, and it's going to be harder to pick up where you left off. Now, for those of you thinking, nah, I've got a great memory, I know exactly what I have going on at all these different places. Well, you know what? I would challenge just how much you have going on right now and suggest that you need more going on simply based on the fact that you can remember everything. I mean, if you're taking 10 shots at the basket every week, yeah, you're probably going to remember every one of those shots, but I'm talking about taking 80 to 100 shots per week and keeping track of all of those. You need a system, and I'm going to give you one. I have a job tracking tool. It's an Excel sheet that will help you keep track of your overall productivity numbers, where you've been applying to, where you want to apply to, as well as the leads that you're tracking for other people. Now, if you're a member of speedupmyjobsearch.com, you'll see a link for it right here on this page, assuming you're signed in right now. You can download it, save it to your computer, and use it. If you're not a member, you can just put your name and email address into the form here on this page, and it will be sent to you immediately. This is going to do a number of things for you. First, you can keep track of everywhere your resume has been sent and how you sent it via email or through online applications, or you handed it to somebody at a job fair, which, by the way, you cannot track all these things through your sent file, for example. Maybe you handed it to a friend, or whatever the method is of sending your resume out. You can track it easily on that page. And you can track who you sent it to, what their contact information is, like their email address, their phone number. You're going to want to write down the position title that you applied to and any notes and updates that are going on with this application. This also even gives you a chance to identify which of these companies are target companies. And a target company is just one that you really want to work for, one that you're going to be willing to take some extra steps to get into. And you can track those extra steps that you took right there on that page. This is a printable page, which I recommend you do, and put it in your waiting on folder like we discussed in the setting up your workspace video under the Prepare tab. This form also has a tab at the bottom of the page where you can then go to track your job leads, which is on a separate sheet there, but all in the same Excel form or document, I guess is the right word. Since these companies and positions that you have not yet applied to are still sitting there and you want to apply to these, maybe you want to do some research on them first, or maybe you just don't have the time at this particular moment to apply, keep track of them here so that you can go in there later today or first thing tomorrow to apply to these positions. This is also a printable sheet, and I recommend you put this one in your leads folder. And then last, there's another tab here that's labeled Leads for Others. These are jobs that don't fit for you, but you have contact names and emails that you can share with other people for their job search. And this is key for the job club meetings or for just general networking. This page is going to set you apart at these functions. It's going to ensure that everyone you meet there will see you as a resource. Two reasons that that's important to do. One is your professional contacts of whom you know personally will expand faster. And two, by the simple law of reciprocity, these people will naturally feel obligated to bring you more leads for your search because you're bringing them leads. This is an important page, so keep it current and keep it in your leads folder. Since recording this video, I have been introduced to a tool that I think is so helpful that I felt it warranted taking the time to splice this extra video clip right in the middle of this job search tracking video to explain what this is. And you've probably already seen it on this page below this video. It's called StartWire, and it is amazing. First of all, it's free for you to use. It's a job search tracking tool that just blows my spreadsheet away in many ways. Not in every way, but in many ways. First, it does track your search in terms of where your resume has gone, but the amazing part of this is that StartWire connects with thousands of existing applicant tracking systems, the ATSs that we've been talking about that companies use to track their candidates and where they are in the process. So if you've applied somewhere and that place has an applicant tracking system that they use, well, then you can log into the StartWire system here and search that company's ATS to find out if there's an update. So you don't have to call the company to find out what your status is. That is amazing to me. And I'm not sure why they provide a service that valuable for free, but they do. So I strongly recommend you take advantage of it. But it gets even better. I'm going to show you my screen here so you can see what this looks like. And since I'm not actively looking for a job myself, I don't have a lot of positions that I personally applied to. But I did pursue a couple of things here just to see for myself what it would look like from the inside. And I found an even cooler set of features that if this had cost money and I was still debating whether I should go with it or not after seeing that ATS feature, these completely sold me and I would have paid for this for sure. So check this out. Here you can see that I applied to a recruiter job with DriveStaff. And since that's my company, I figured that would be safe to do. And when I click on the job itself to look at the details, I can set a reminder for myself to follow up with them, and that will be tracked right here in this system. I just set the date, and then I'll set the time here. And if I want to follow up by email or phone or set a reminder of when I have an interview and what type, if it's a face-to-face or a phone interview. So I'm just going to put follow up with a phone call here, and let's find out what the next steps are going to be, and I'll type that in, and then I will schedule it. And then down here, I can even add whatever notes I want to about the company. Now that's pretty nice, but that's not what sold me. Right here, and let me give you one more nice thing here before we move on to the really, really cool thing. They recommend jobs that would likely fit my background. So they do some of the searching for me. They're going to track how many companies I've viewed, how many jobs I've viewed, and how many alerts I've set up. Just lots of good info here. Although there is one feature here that I really, really don't like, and it's the only reason that I hesitated in recommending StartWire at all because of this particular feature. It's not big of a deal. They have what they call an express apply feature, and I would recommend you avoid using that feature completely. Well, on its surface, it seems like that would really speed up your search. Wow, I can apply with just one click, right? And you look at a job and it's going to send your one generic resume out, again, with a single click. Sounds very, very appealing. But before you try that feature even once, please go watch the Customizing Your Resume video. Hopefully you'll see just how important it is to target companies and customize every single resume that you send out. It is really essential that you do that. Now, if you're not a member and you can't get to that video, I have a blog article. In the blog section, it's about blasting your resume out, how blasting your resume can slow down your search. Same concept there. Not as much detail as that Customizing your Resume video, but go to the blog and check out that blog. I'll put a link to it here below this video so you can check it out. But this will actually slow down your search, not speed it up. So please avoid that feature. Before you ever click an apply button at all, I want you to be thinking speed to respond, not speed to apply. Okay, speed to respond will create the bond. Speed to apply will make you cry. All right, targeted resumes will produce faster responses. So do whatever you need to do to remember that before you ever click an apply button, speed to respond needs to go through your mind, not speed to apply. Nobody likes to cry. All right, so why am I still recommending using StartWire then, even with this feature? Well, even better than the ATS connections and the ability to set reminders that are attached to the job tracking form, which you can print out, by the way, also very cool. Let's take a look at another company here that I looked at that's under the views area. Looks a lot like the same setup we had and we saw for the drive staff position, but over here where the reminder is, there's a couple more tabs up here. Now there's a salary tab, so here we can see what this company pays their people. Here we see that this particular company pays their salespeople a base salary of 30 grand. And then look at this, an interview tab. And if any of the other users had an interview there, which, by the way, they have more than 3 million people who use this site, and if any of them had an interview at this company before you did, they can add notes that you can read about what to expect during your interview. And some of these, as I was looking around, have lots of details. And here we can see on this one that one of the interview questions is, why do you want to be in sales? So now you can prepare for that question and not be taken off guard by it. I mean, that right there is worth its weight in gold. I mean, if you have a resource that can possibly tell you the test questions before you take the test, and if passing that test meant the difference between landing a job or remaining unemployed, done. Sign me up. That's right there. That's awesome. And if you use the link below this video to sign up, you're going to be able to access your StartWire dashboard from right inside of speedupmyjobsearch.com. They have customized their page specifically for speedupmyjobsearch.com. So you'll automatically be logged in whenever you're logged into your member account of our site. That was really cool of them to do. And again, this is a free service that they're providing, and they're customizing web pages for their customers. This place is really an amazing, amazing organization. And if you're just using the same computer every time you log into our site, there's going to be a cookie that's put onto your computer, so you'll be logged in even if you're not a member. And we're keeping this StartWire information in the free section of this site so anybody can use this. It's really that great of a tool. Now, while this is a great tool and you can use it to track all of your job search activities, including leads, it does not keep track of the leads that you're keeping for other people that you can bring to the job club. So I still recommend using the form, that Excel sheet that I was talking about in the last section, and using that to help the people around you, because ultimately that's going to help you in return. But it's definitely worth signing up for a free account here in your StartWire account below. I would absolutely recommend at least check it out, look through there, see what's in there. It doesn't cost you anything, do it, and start tracking your job search today and start getting the extra information that they offer about the places you've already applied. And remember, speed to respond will create the bond. Speed to apply will make you cry. Okay, let's keep going. Another important point we need to talk about here is process. I know a lot of people who pursue just one job lead at a time, and if it doesn't work out at that one, then they go look for another job lead to pursue. And meanwhile, 3 other jobs that would have been perfect for them have opened and then been filled while they were waiting on that one position to come through. And then it never did. Here's the thing, you can't stop searching and taking on more until you have an offer letter in hand. A physical offer letter in your hand or inbox that you like. And there's nothing wrong with having multiple offers in hand. That's a very good problem to have. So until you have an offer that you like, you have to keep pressing forward. And remember, you cannot turn down an offer you do not get. So with each lead you pursue, you need to give it your best effort to get an offer from that company no matter what. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. I mean, like we talk about in all these interview strategies, the degree to which you're in your own head debating whether or not you'd really like to work at this company is the degree to which you're not present there in the interview showing interest in the position. Your goal behind every application needs to be to get an interview. And the goal of every interview is to get an offer and then decide if you really want it. Otherwise, you're making decisions about your life based on assumptions. You're going to have to assume how much they're going to offer you without truly knowing. You'll have to assume that you know all the perks and benefits that come with working at that company and in that position, even though you've never worked there and don't truly know. In my opinion, it's better to make educated decisions based on facts rather than on assumptions. One last point on job search tracking, and a major advantage this will give you, is when an employer calls you, if you have your list of where you've sent your resume out to on hand, you're going to be able to respond as if this is the one company you've really been hoping to hear from. I mean, if you make the employers feel like you've been giving out your number to everyone in the bar just hoping to get a date, or sending your resume out to every company in town desperate for a job, then you know what, in their eyes, you're going to fall into that pile of just another candidate, for this job. And that's a big pile. The key is to be special, to set yourself apart from everyone else who's applied to this job. Because there's so many people who, when they answer the phone, they're saying to the employer that they have no idea who they are or who the company is. And they've just been sending the resume out to so many places and they're having trouble keeping track. Please, can you remind me which position this was again? This leaves a tremendous opportunity for you to step in. I mean, if you have this job tracking form, then you can say something like this. ABC company? Oh, good. I was hoping you would call. I thought that Java development position really sounded like a good position. I'm hoping that's what you're calling about. That's going to make the employer feel great. It will most certainly set you in a special pile on your own to be considered first. By having the ability to answer the phone like that, you are literally going to affect the speed in which the company moves you through their interview process simply by how prepared you were when you answered the phone. And I've heard a few times from people who answer the phone like that it might reduce their negotiating power when it comes to negotiating for a job offer. And I just want to say, not at all. Searching for a job is not like buying a car. Right? You're not going to get a better price by pointing out the flaws in their company and seeming uninterested. And I'll talk about several very effective negotiating strategies when we get to that section under the interview tab. But long story short, if they don't think you're interested, they're going to offer the job to someone who is. Right? And there's ways to not only negotiate better offers, but to negotiate in a way to get faster offers. And the bigger point here is that I'm hoping you're starting to see by this point is that every aspect of your job search can be fine-tuned to affect the speed in which you land a good job. From how you answer the phone on the first call to your negotiating the offer at the end. And none of this stuff takes a master salesperson to pull it off. I mean, it's simply a matter of being prepared and then taking the steps that you've prepared to take, right? You can do this. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of very important resources next, then an assignment, and then we can keep moving to talk about how to use social media effectively for a job search. I have a couple of resources for you here in this section. First and foremost is the Excel sheet that we created for you. You want to download that from the link on this page, or if you're not a member yet, just fill out the quick form on this page and we'll send you a quick copy of it. The second resource, I already mentioned this under the Planning Your Day section, I understand, but I really think this one's important, so I want to mention it again here, since the Planning Your Day section is for members only, and not everyone is going to see that. This is an app for your smartphone called Lift, and they do now have a website available, so you don't have to have a smartphone to use this. I just think a smartphone's a lot more convenient to be able to work with this on a daily basis. The website itself is called lift.do. And again, completely free. And this is going to help you create habits that will get you to your goals faster. And I like this a lot better than the other model of goal setting that seems to be getting more popular these days, because this one is all positive accountability. You set your goals in there, and then you can have friends encourage you along the way. And we even have a plan in there called Speed Up My Job Search. If you go look for that and then follow it, then you're going to see other people who are also following it, and you can encourage them and they can encourage you. The plan itself is going to outline specifically how to follow this program all the way through for members. But anyone looking at this is probably in transition at the moment. So if you join this particular plan, you're going to see other people who are also looking for a job, and then you can follow them and they might follow you. And of course also, if you're in an accountability group outside of this program, get everyone in your accountability group into this program, into this Lift.do or into the smartphone app, and then follow each other and encourage each other. But also you can get more people involved whom you don't even know, that you can give and get more encouragement. Now, even though the plan that we've set up in there is designed specifically to help you get through the course completely on speedupmyjobsearch.com, your daily goals can be modified to meet your specific needs. And really, this is about hitting your numbers every day. So under the planning your day section, we'll get into more detail about why you've set the goals that we've set for you and what you're trying to accomplish with those. But you can at least track your numbers on this Excel sheet and then make them public to the group here to get some more encouragement. Now, the other model that I was referring to is useful to some. It's called stickk.com is where you can find it, just stickk.com. And this is a negative consequence goal setting site. And if that works better for you, I want to let you know about it here. But basically the way this works is you pick out a charity or a person that you really don't like. Maybe you're a really diehard Republican or a Democrat and you really have some disdain for the other party, or maybe a family member that you don't like, or a coworker, or whomever. Well, if you don't meet your goal, stickk.com will donate money from your bank account on your behalf to that specific charity or person that you don't like very much. And on the surface, this does seem like a very funny idea, a very good idea, but in my opinion, once you get burned by this a couple of times, you're not going to want to go back to it. Or maybe you're going to feel like you need to start lying to this thing because you feel like you're going to get punished if you don't meet your goals. And to me, that's just adding more stress that you don't need. This app, Lift, L-I-F-T, Lift, is going to allow you to set some goals, and it's going to give you reminders in case you miss your goals and some encouragement along the way, and it's completely free. So I definitely recommend you check this one out. The assignment for this section is to set up first your job search tracking Excel sheet. Try to remember your productivity numbers over the last few weeks and fill them in so you can get a feel for where some of your issues might be and where you need to adjust your strategies right from the beginning here. And then fill in the tracking form of where your resume's gone so far. And be as complete as you can be with this. Make sure you've got dates on there of when you sent your resume out and any contact dates if you can remember them, because your follow-up plan is going to be dictated based on the time of your last point of contact with them. And don't forget to keep an active list of leads for others on this and have that printed out, because the more you can be a resource for others, the more resources there will be for you. You can't pull money out of a bank if you haven't made any deposits, right? Same thing here. You can't draw leads from others if you haven't given them any first. So you want to make a point to be making as many deposits as you can with everyone else who you know is looking for a job. Next, within the Lift.do site or in your Lift app, look for the Speed Up My Job Search plan to help you set your daily habits, and join that plan, right? And then you're going to find some other people who are also in the same plan who you can help encourage along the way. Follow them, and hopefully they will follow you too. I'm in there myself, and if you follow me, you're going to see some of my daily goals and my plans. And again, just like with the leads, if you make deposits, you'll likely get more out of this. If you want to get encouragement, you need to give encouragement. You need to make that a priority. So that's it for the job search tracking section here. You just got to keep in mind that finding a new job is about knowledge and tactics, not luck and market conditions. Track your numbers, watch where your deficiencies are, make the adjustments, and you're going to move through the process faster. You can do this. Now let's keep moving.